Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crimson Huddle. We're so pleased to be back with you here on the Big Hit, and we've got a special treat for you here in the midst of basketball season. Both Tevin Hanner and Brandon Norfleet have taken some time from their scrupulous preparation to join us here in studio and talk a little IUP men's basketball. Both seniors on the IUP men's basketball team, Tevin Hanner, sociology major, Brandon Norfleet, a local product here, communications media major at IUP. Gentlemen, it's been a really good season for everybody here at IUP, both the men and the women. So you clinched your first division title since you've both been here at IUP, both of you transferring in. So I'd just like to start the conversation off by asking, what did it mean for you to finally get that division title under your belt, and does that help you focusing on your goals moving forward?
It was big. Me being here 3 years, I haven't gotten it, and IUP has such a success here, and it was just our first goal. Our first goal of the season. It was our second goal, actually. Our first goal was to get 20 wins. Second goal was to be PSAC West champs, and now we want to be conference champs, and then further on past that. But it was just big. For me, coming from where I come from, I haven't won a championship, and for us to be PSAC West champs in the regular season, that's huge coming from me.
I thought it was real big because with a lot of our core players leaving last year, I think a lot of people counted out this senior group, and it was definitely on our agenda to get that done, especially because we didn't get it done last year. So I think that was real big for us to get that done.
Certainly, that's a great point because you had a lot of seniors leave, so the burden kind of fell on to you guys as the rising seniors here. Your program, one of the tops in the Atlantic region over the past 9 seasons, and last year was a big reason for that success. I'm sure you remember it very vividly because you went to the NCAA Division II National Championship game, and coming in, the expectations were obviously very high, hoping for a repeat, a lot of comparisons drawn from this year to last year. So what does this year's team do better than last year's, and what are the differences between these two teams?
Well, this year is the most enthusiastic team that I've ever been a part of. Everybody's so into each other. We love coming to practice and just competing with each other. We have a good time. We don't come to practice like, oh, we have to come to practice. Like, we're excited to come to practice and be together, things like that. I also feel like last year's team was way better defensively. But to counteract that, we've been great on offense this year, so that's really elevated us.
To this point, enthusiasm has been real high, higher than last year. And I think we're a lot different on defense to the point where we're more athletic. But at the same time, the last year team had so much experience, so we was a lot smarter on defense. And we've been taking a little bit of lapses because of the young group and just all of the new pieces we've been having. So if it had to say any difference, I'd say it'd be the experience on defense.
Yeah, it's certainly a great point. A lot of younger players coming in here this season. Last year you had some guys who've been there and done that in both the conference tournament and in the NCAA tournament, especially with a guy like Sean Dyer transferring in, a lot of championship game experience. But with a younger team, you certainly have done a great job so far this season. Tevin, I'd like to kind of spotlight you as you talk about the man to your right there, Brandon Norfleet. He's obviously had a tremendous year. He does lead the conference in scoring. Single season records are shattering here in the IUP record books, and he's earning a potential All-American bid with his play so far this year. So tell me a little bit what it's like to play with Brandon Norfleet. Is the kind of season he's having surprise you at all? And just tell me a little bit about playing with Brandon Norfleet here.
It's real easy for me. When you play with a guy as talented as Brandon is, it makes my job a lot easier, and I get a lot of easy looks that I wouldn't get if I was playing with different players. And it's not surprising to me at all. Last year, me and him, Daddy, we all was waiting in the wings under those seniors who had the green light for good reason. But it wasn't surprising to me at all. I expected it. He put all the work in, and it's well deserved.
Absolutely. Teammates. Good. Good. He's speaking well about you, Brandon. So, Brandon, I'd like to talk to you a little bit here. Coming in, you were behind a lot of guys. You had a starting role, but not a real leadership role just because of the guys you had behind you. And coming into this season, everyone kind of knew that you were going to be the guy. And it wasn't easy to start, certainly, with a shaky start to the season. Then your friend Devon Cottrell, fellow senior, going down game number 6 into the season. But you guys have obviously rebounded, have reeled off a tremendous year, and are postseason bound once again. So how have you managed to put together one of the top seasons in IUP history, and what do those accomplishments and these big numbers really mean to you personally?
Well, it started from last year. The senior guys knew I was going to have a bigger role this year, so the whole time last year they were standing in my ear, trying to get me better, trying to be a better leader because they knew what role I was going to be in this year. So after the season was over, that whole off season I was just working on my game. My dad, he always told me, he always wanted me to ask this question every time I worked in the gym: what do you want your legacy to be? And I want to be a champion once I'm done here. And I got a great group of guys around me. They're keeping me engaged every day in practice. Coach Lombardi, he's doing a great job in preparing me every day. It's been a great ride right now, and I'm just happy to be in this position I am right now.
Very good. One more thing before we go to break. Last year in the PSAC championship game, you went up to Gannon and lost on a last-second shot. Can you kind of tell me how that has motivated you guys going into this season? Was that something that you kind of drew back on when you were working out in the off season? You were this close. Yeah. Is that something you drew on?
Definitely, definitely. Every time me and Tev, we met up in the gym, we never wanted to feel that pain that we felt losing like that in the championship game last year, because we thought this conference belonged to IUP. Like, we have success at IUP. That's the history here. So we don't want to be those guys that lose again in the championship our senior year. So we just want to push our teammates and just we want them to feed off how we go about every day in the gym, and we just want them to come prepared every day in practice, and they have been so far.
Yeah, that was the tone in the preseason. We did a lot of good things. Like you said, we went to the PSAC championship and the national championship. They were great accomplishments, but at the end of the day, we didn't come away with the win, and that always was not in the back of our mind. That was on our mind the whole off season and in the preseason. That was just the tone, and still is the tone today.
And that was then, and this is now. We're going to take a quick break here on the Big Hit. We'll come back and talk about the impending PSAC tournament. Brandon Norfleet, Tevin Hanner joining us here in studio. We're going to take a break. Be right back here on the Big Hit. So, guys, with the tournament coming up, what are IUP's chances this year?
I think they have a really good chance because the PSAC is not that strong compared to IUP. IUP moves the ball a lot quicker than most teams. They're very well-rounded. They've been playing together for a while. They've got a lot of big-time transfers. So I think that they have the edge over most of their opponents simply because they have experience. Experience gives you the edge any day of the week. So that's definitely why I think they can win the PSAC tournament for sure. What do you think, Norm?
Welcome back into the Big Hit here, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Crimson Huddle, and we're pleased to be joined by two senior members of the IUP men's basketball team, Tevin Hanner and Brandon Norfleet. And guys, before the break, we were talking a little bit about the PSAC championship game from last year, but I want to go back just a little bit, not as long ago, but last week, in fact, the senior night against Pitt Johnstown, and it was a pretty cool moment for one senior in particular, that being Anthony Rocco, making his first career start, a walk-on guy. Tell me a little bit about Anthony Rocco, and how cool was that for you guys to see someone who works like that make his first career start?
Man, I was just so excited. He was so happy before the game. I was excited for him because he deserved that. He deserved it. He worked so hard. He's been here for 5 years, so he's really developed that IUP culture. He's instilled in us since I got here how hard IUP works, and I'm just so excited that he got that opportunity.
Yeah, definitely, because seeing the guy work every day, knowing he's not getting in the game that often, but he's committed, he's down for the team always, and for him to get in the spotlight just for the little bit of time that he did, man, it was great.
And the result was probably pretty sweet as well with the
Yeah,
victory over
for sure.
UPJ. Very entertaining game, and you had already clinched the #1 seed in the PSAC West, so you are heading to the PSAC Tournament. That's happening next week here. This recorded on a Tuesday. The PSAC Tournament starting next Tuesday. Always an interesting time of year, postseason basketball. The intensity kicked up a notch. IUP has won 3 of 4 PSAC championships from 2010 to 2013 before you guys were on the team, but you've seen the culture of success. Will you guys kind of look back to those teams and try and draw off of those experiences, or does Coach Lombardi ever kind of remind you about what those teams did to be successful?
Coach, he stresses on us finding our own identity. He doesn't want us to be like any other team because he knows we don't have those players from any other team. So he just wants us to find our own identity, and our identity this year has been enthusiastic, has been us playing for each other, us getting better on defense, because without our defense, we're not going to win the championship. Those teams in the past have been great defensive teams, and I feel like that's why they won. But our offense has been great, and we just got to work on our defense. So, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like every team is different, as Brandon has said. But I think the one thing he always tried to instill in us is championship DNA, and being committed to the process and locking in and mentally being focused. And those are things that championship teams have. So, and in that aspect, he just compared that comparison of what they had as far as the championship DNA, and I think that's what he tried to instill in us.
Absolutely, and it's worked so far to this point, clinching a bye here in the first round of the PSAC tournament here. So going into postseason play, I'd like to learn a little bit more about your preparation. You say how IUP works very hard. I'd like to kind of delve into that a little bit here. Do you guys plan on making any adjustments before or during the tournament, or are you going to continue playing the way you have all season? What do you guys do to prepare for a game, kind of?
Every game we're just stressing defense, stress defense. Our offense is going to come. We got people that could put the ball in the hoop. We just want to work on our defense because we know we're going to have to get stops in the playoffs. We're going to play against power offenses like UPJ. We're going to go against defensive teams like Mercyhurst, things like that. So our game plans for each game is going to be different, but at the same time, every time we go into each game, it's all going to be about defense.
Yeah, I think just sharpening up with the mental mistakes, cutting them down. You know, in playoff basketball, the possessions count more than ever, and you playing high-level competition. So 3 or 4 mistakes is real crucial. So you try to cut them down to 2 or 1, and that's about it.
So the PSAC is a conference that is known for a lot of great teams, and you kind of mentioned there's a little bit of everything in this conference. You've got teams who can score, you've got teams who can play defense, you've got teams kind of right in the middle here. So how far do you think you can go in the PSAC tournament, and what are the keys to making a successful tournament run both here and in the NCAA tournament?
From the beginning of the season, we thought we could win the PSAC championship. That's always our goal as IUP. We want to win a PSAC championship. And in the tournament, it's magical. Anything can happen in the tournament, just like last year. Everybody counted us out. We lost the PSAC championship. Nobody expected us to get all the way to the national championship. So I feel like we can get back there if we stay focused and we're all the way in as a team and fighting for each other.
To take one game at a time. Try not to look ahead against other people. I mean, I can remember last year when Gannon lost to a team like Slippery Rock, who was hot and may not have been a better team, but they were more focused and they was locked in for that game. You know, their focus was Gannon. So I feel like our focus has had to be on our opponent and just being the better version of us, and not really necessarily worried about the other team and getting better.
Very good. And one final thing here before we call it quits here on the Big Hit inside the Crimson Huddle. Both of you guys are seniors. You've had a year to spend with some of these younger guys, a lot of younger players on the team. We're talking about 2 of the top freshmen in the PSAC in Cobo and Dante Lombardi. You've got some talented sophomores and juniors as well. So tell me about a player that you're excited to see grow and kind of take the reins, so to speak, in this IUP basketball program as you guys depart?
I'm going to go with Kobo Diaz. I think with his size and skill as a freshman, under Coach Lombardi, that's going to be special to see when he's a junior, like a sophomore or junior. I think his work ethic is really good, and he's been improving. It's just in this season, so I can only imagine what he'll be like in his junior year.
I'm gonna have to go with Anthony Glover. I see a lot of myself in him when I came here as a sophomore. He has so much potential. He could put the ball in the hoop. He's smart. He knows the offense. I think that he needs to work on his defense a lot, his competitiveness, but that comes with just being in IUP and under Lombardi. He's going to learn that. I've tried my best to instill in him what I've learned from the other past senior captains, things like that. So once he gets to it's his team, it's his time to take the reins. I think he'll be ready for it, and I'm very excited to where he can go.
Well, I don't know if there's any preferential treatment with the positions of forward, saying that a forward's going to take that, a guard saying that a guard's going to take that. But I guess we'll find out. Guys, congratulations on a great season. We certainly wish you the best of luck moving forward. Any final parting shots for the masses here?
We just want to, I'm appreciative of you getting me on the show. Me and Tev, this is my first time being on the show. Yeah. It was a pleasure. Y'all doing a great thing here. And yeah.
I would say thank you. It's blessed to have this opportunity to share some spotlight with my fellow brother and come out and support us next Tuesday.
Yeah, well, we certainly are grateful that you guys had a chance to come on the show, and we look forward to seeing what you guys can do here as postseason basketball rolls around. March Madness, one of the top times of year. I'm sure you guys would agree. That will do it for the Crimson Huddle. We're going to take a break here on the Big Hit, but when we return, Will Gaucher down here to close us out with the 2-minute drill. Don't go away. This is the Big Hit on IUP-TV.